I want to share another pathway back to yourself, which is simply following your heart. And I know that sounds so cliche. It's definitely overused, but it's true. Another way to say it is following your passion, or following your enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is a nice word. It comes from the Greek word ethos, which actually means God within. And when you're following your enthusiasm, although maybe you don't use that word God within, I never did, I always just felt like it was this power that wanted to express, as well as this power that was pulling. It would pull things towards me. It would express things out of me. And this was seen in the form of businesses that I was creating, things that I was sharing, different hobbies, spending time around certain people, family, different interests were being born, different creations were being created. But it was really, when you look at it, it was, something's in my eye, there's just this enthusiasm. There was just this passion. There was this love. So whatever word resonates most with you, but it's really about tuning into that and really letting everything else that you're not enthusiastic about, that you're not passionate about, that you're not in love with, to just simply let it fall away. Whereas then this enthusiasm, it just starts flowing. And you have to be open to following wherever it's taking you. You have to follow that love. You're following it back to your heart. That enthusiasm, the God within, just let it express through you. So it shows up as what may start at first just being like an interest. And it's very subtle, a subtle interest. And then it seems to grow or develop or get stronger. It's a strong interest. To the point where then it starts feeling more like enthusiasm. That there's this joy to run or play this sport or build this business or start this family or whatever it is. It doesn't need to be big. The enthusiasm to maybe just walk around the block. The enthusiasm to start a garden. The enthusiasm to look at the moon, watch a sunset. But then this starts becoming very spontaneous and flowy. That your life no longer feels rigid, like you're trying to plan everything. that you're looking at everything as a step, very mechanical, methodical. Here's the method, here's the plan, here's my process, trying to arrive at the destination. There's this feeling that when you're enthusiastic, there's no concern for a destination. The flow is so exciting. It's so thrilling. It's full of joy. It's full of love. There's no concern for a destination. It feels like a ride, but not like what you might be thinking is like some adrenaline rush. Not that. It's not like you're an adrenaline junkie and you're just going to these big thrills of jumping out of a plane or whitewater rafting or mountain climbing. It's not like that. If that's where the enthusiasm is taking you, then yes. But it's not like you're hunting for it. It's not like you're looking at certain things. Like you create some big bucket list and you want to then cross it off. It's not like that. It starts coming out very organically. It feels a lot like, I can't really say it feels a lot like, but if I had to imagine, it feels more like it's like a pregnancy, that there's something in you that wants to be born. There's something in you that wants to come out. That's why I said it's actually a good word. Ethos, God within. It's something that wants to express out of you, through you. Something that's living you. Something that's moving you. I used to always say for myself, I'm just extremely passionate about this, or I'm moved by love. You're moved. It feels like a current, like an energetic current. Or you could say like the current in a water. And that current is made of love. And it's that love that you're flowing with the current. It's moving you. You're not really steering the boat. You're going with the flow, trusting the current. And that's why there's so much excitement. There's so much exploration. There's thrill. There's aliveness. You don't know where it's taking you. That's why you're not even concerned with the destination, because it's the star of the show. You're moved by love. You're so in tune with this current. It starts feeling like you're in sync with a universal heartbeat. And it's actually effortless. That being in tune with your enthusiasm, it's this effortless enthusiasm. That this enthusiasm is effortlessly just pouring out. Because you're no longer ignoring it. You're not trying to override it with what your parents are telling you to do, or your family's telling you to do, or society is telling you to do. There's a part of you that actually starts feeling very rebellious. But not in the sense that you are just trying to disobey people. Not just like you're trying to go against the flow. It's just that you find that this enthusiasm is carving your own unique path. And you just kind of see the masses moving in one direction, and this unique path starts taking you away from the masses. So rebellion in that sense, that you start blazing your own trail, that you become a pioneer, you start exploring by yourself. You're no longer looking at everyone else and asking of their approval or their opinions. You're not asking them for direction. Why? Because something is directing you within. You are in tune with your inner compass. There's no need to ask for a second opinion. You're not second guessing yourself because you're trusting the flow of life. You're moved by something greater. There's something in you that has stepped aside. You're no longer in your own way. That thing within you that wanted to effort, plan, predict, it's like it's resting. That thing that was always trying to plan and predict, that was actually suppressing this enthusiasm that just naturally wants to come out. It wants to come out in everyone. And when you start paying attention, it starts feeling like you've been ignoring yourself for a very long time. It starts feeling like you've cut yourself off from your own heart. It starts feeling like you've abandoned a part of yourself. And the sooner you start paying attention to this enthusiasm, to this inner passion, to this love, to this bliss, which it feels, so I don't use this word a lot, because it's more than just happiness. It's just complete satisfaction, aliveness, peace, freedom. It's just one word that can include a bunch of other words. But you know it, because you start finding that when you're actually in tune with your enthusiasm and you're letting that enthusiasm express, that you're actually energized by it. That you find that whatever wants to come through you, I'm enthusiastic about this. Let me just start speaking about this, or start painting, or start running, or start creating something. It usually comes out in that format. That you start actually noticing that enthusiasm is inseparable from the creativity. I'll talk about this in another video, because that's another path, which is very interconnected with this that I'm talking about. But you'll just start noticing that this creativity will just start taking over. You'll be enthusiastic about perhaps starting to cook more. You'll be enthusiastic about your physical health, your mental health. You'll be enthusiastic about now cooking. And you'll start finding that there's actually this creativity in preparing your meals and cooking the meals and how you eat. There's this enthusiasm about where you're eating, the room, the environment, the ambiance. It's so subtle, but it's so powerful. And not only does it feel, I don't want to say the word addicting here, but like contagious, that you keep coming back to it. It's like a reservoir. You're actually being nourished by it. You're being energized. You're being revitalized by it. That actually, people can feel that. People usually just say, you're really passionate speaking about that. You're really passionate sharing that. It seems like you're really passionate about your work. They'll say things like, you're a natural. You've got a natural gift. I can see that you're really sharing something that you're enjoying. Everything, these words, they just start getting blended together. That where there's this enthusiasm, there's enjoyment. When there's the enjoyment, there's the creativity. When there's the creativity, there's the spontaneity. When there's the spontaneity, there's the freedom. They just start getting, you can't talk about one thing without talking about another. You can't talk about creativity without talking about the aliveness. You can't talk about the aliveness without talking about the power. That's where you see that even these videos, they just kind of flow away from what are we starting off here with the video? I don't even know how it started. It just starts flowing. And you start seeing it. It's a good example. You can see how the enthusiasm is directing this sharing. That there's just the sharing of the enthusiasm, and in the conversation, the video is going in this direction, and then it goes in this direction, and it's just because everything is free to flow. It's the enthusiasm that's flowing. There's something that's moving. It's the love that's pouring out. The current is just taking it in this direction, that there's actually a current in the conversation. And that's just looking at the video as like a microcosm on a micro level. But then you can kind of zoom out and go, okay, well, maybe the video is part of a series of videos, or it's like this sort of topic or theme, because that's where the enthusiasm just wants to talk about maybe creativity for a while, or maybe it just wants to talk about the flow state, or wants to talk about maybe this being more practical in daily life with maybe business or your family. Right? So it's just, you just see it. You start seeing how the enthusiasm, certain hobbies at certain times of the year. You get enthusiastic about gardening in the spring and the summer. You get enthusiastic about soups in the fall. You get enthusiastic about painting in the winter. It's about following that. But in order to follow that, you have to be letting go of that which you're not enthusiastic about. Otherwise, it's going to feel like there's a split. It's going to feel like something wants to come out, and there's something that says, no, you can't come out. Not today. Later. It's always going to feel like you're procrastinating it. It's always going to feel like something is dying inside of you. It's always going to feel like regret. Like, I've always wanted to do this, but I didn't. I didn't do it. I wish I did it, but I didn't. You're going to get triggered when you see someone actually following their heart. Because a part of you is going to see that, and it's going to feel like, I wish I was courageous. Now, where's the courage? What does it take courage to do? It takes courage to follow your heart. Sounds so easy, following your heart, but why is it so hard? Because it requires you letting go of everything else. And whenever you are faced with something to let go of, you're always going to experience fear. So when this enthusiasm starts arising, and you're maybe in a job, a 9 to 5, but there's this enthusiasm to do something else. Well, now you're faced with this decision, letting go of your comfy 9 to 5 job. That's the courage to let go. The courage to let go is also the courage to follow your heart. They're one and the same. So why is it hard to follow your heart? Because you're usually meeting fear. Along the way. But it's as if you're getting more and more practice letting go. Which ironically starts feeling like you're letting go of fear. So you're following your heart and you're letting go of fear simultaneously, to the point where you're not actually experiencing any fear. That the love is overpowering. You start experiencing more and more love, less and less fear. You're moved by love. Fear always feels like it freezes you. Love always feels like it moves you. You're moving because of love, or you're either frozen because of fear. So that's why I said it's like following your bliss, following your heart, following the enthusiasm. It's a pathway. That pathway is the spiritual journey. For myself, what spiritual journey? What is spirituality? But I'll tell you one thing, I've definitely been following my heart my entire life. I've been following this enthusiasm. It's been a thrilling ride. Never called it a spiritual journey. It's just life. And what prevents people from listening to their heart is because they're listening to the crowd, the masses. When you're listening to the masses, then you're ignoring your heart. The mass is so loud, but your heart is so silent. That's why it requires sometimes to pull away from the friend circles, pull away from that crowd. That's when you start feeling this inner rebellion. It starts feeling like, no, I need to go my own way. I need to do things a little differently. What I'm seeing is not for me. What I'm seeing is not working for the masses. I can't see myself doing that. Something feels like it's not right, not true to me. And when you start peeling away, you just naturally start losing interest. You've let go of that. The loss of the interest of what other people are talking about or what they're doing. It's like you're not interested in it. But how the mind hears this is, oh, that sounds kind of plain. It sounds kind of plain to say that you've lost interest in all of that. It's like, that doesn't sound that good. No, you've lost interest in that because you're way more enthusiastic about something else. That your attention is on what you are truly passionate about. Your attention goes to what you are enthusiastic about. Your attention goes to what you truly love. And when your attention is on what you truly love, now you start experiencing devotion. You no longer need discipline in your life. Because you are devoted. And it's this devotion that brings you all the way home. It's this unwavering devotion. You're devoted to the process. You're devoted to the thing that you love. You're devoted to that what you're creating. You're devoted to what's being born. You're so in tune with it. You're so one with the God within, the enthusiasm. You're one with your heart. You're one with love. That to others, it looks like there's a great deal of effort. But it's like they can't see the current. It looks like there's a great deal of effort. Watching a boat flow down the stream. From far, it looks like they're moving, like the boat is moving fast. That's got to be, no way. Boating's not for me. But if you don't see the current, it looks like work. But when you're actually going with the flow, it's effortless. that thing inside you that was suppressing that what wants to be expressed through you. It's actually surrendered. It's constantly surrendering. As soon as you get even the feeling of some resistance, surrendered. Something's being born, something's being created. There it is. There's the enjoyment of creating it. There's the enjoyment of seeing it out, holding on to it for a little bit, and then the enthusiasm starts pulling you in a different direction. Well, then now that needs to be surrendered. I've seen that in my life, just even with people. Here's this friendship, but then the enthusiasm is pulling me in a different direction. No, it's going to require more focus over here. It wants to go here. So then it's let go. Surrender that. Let go of that. Building a business. Then the enthusiasm is taking me to another creative endeavor. The creativity is just going from one to another. It's not even really caring about seeing it all the way through, getting some recognition. Seeing more like practice, like play. The way you see a child start building something with Lego blocks and then halfway through breaks it and then starts over. Like there's no care. They're not attached to the outcome of that Lego structure. How they can simply build something and then demo it and then start all over. It felt a lot like that. I remember I had a business that I was building during COVID time, creating it, and just loved with the process of building this thing. It was like, yeah, it felt like this is the one. This is going to be good. Can't wait to share this. But enjoying so much of the process that I remember even said, I'm enjoying the process so much that even if this doesn't get put out there, it doesn't matter. I enjoyed building it. No one needs to see it. No one needs to know about it. It was as if there was like maybe 10 people that knew about it. Because why? Because that was let go. It's not seen as a sacrifice. It's just surrendered. It's just let go of easily. Surrender that because the enthusiasm is pulling me to speak about this. That this then became more of the passion, there's more enthusiasm, that the love was moving me in this direction. It moved me towards that business, building it, and then it moved me in a different direction. And love is free, boundless. It's free to move wherever it moves. It's unconditional. So you don't restrain it. You don't bind it. You don't get attached to what it creates. It's just seen as going in a different direction, and it really just starts feeling, when you get in tune with it, like it's a flow. It really feels, as much as I said unwavering, it does feel like it's like a wave. It actually, you start to feel the bends as if it is like a river, and there's some bends in the river. And you continue to follow it more and more. And then you start to realize that this love, this enthusiasm, this bliss is not coming from the things that you're creating. It's not coming from the business that you're enthusiastic about. It's not coming from the people that you're passionate to spend time with. It's not coming from the hobbies that you love, the activities that you enjoy. It's not coming from any of that. See, at first you start tuning into it's coming from within you. But then the attention just continues to go towards what the enthusiasm is expressing. So it's expressing through a business, it's expressing through a marriage, it's expressing through kids, it's expressing through food, it's expressing through gardening, it's expressing through running. And it's as if the attention is going outward towards what it's expressing. But there comes to be a point where it's so strong you're so in tune with it, you're so one with it, that this whole time you've been following it in what feels like this outward expression. And it brings you to this point where all of that movement and activity, it's as if this flow just starts to slow down and mellow to the point that you start noticing that you're still feeling this enthusiasm, you're still feeling this love, you're still feeling this passion, but it's not coming from anywhere outside of you. You're feeling it independent of your running, independent of your garden, independent of your business, independent of your wife or husband, independent of your kids. So now, this devotion that was devoted to activities and hobbies and objects and people, it's now turned inward. Use the word like fragrance, like you can smell it. Metaphorically speaking, you can smell it, and it's like the way that you would follow a smell. You can follow that smell and find Cinnabon in the mall. You can follow it. It's like you're following your smell, but you're following it within. You're noticing that you can actually just sit, relax, and feel it. And I remember for myself that this was then starting to be experienced, that there was enthusiasm for stretching and yoga. And then it was just, I could just lay down on the ground. I was literally just laying down on my back, just feeling it. And it was just relaxing more and more. And I would just notice that I would just start smiling for no reason. And then any sort of resistance to the smile was then just relaxed. It was surrendered. It was let go of. And it was just following it deeper and deeper into more and more relaxation, And there was just more bliss, more of this love. So it was tracing it back inward. Where is all this enthusiasm coming from? Where is all this love coming from? And that continued and continued. Where there was this time where there was less distraction from these activities. These activities in life just kind of came to a rest. And there was more alone time to really start paying attention to what, okay, if all of those things are an expression of this enthusiasm, this passion, this fire in the heart, this love, then what's that source? What's creating it? Where's that coming from? So then instead of going outward, then it was then inward and just following it. And I remember that was actually, I don't want to say a technique. It wasn't really a technique. It was just happening. That you just lay down, relax, and I would just feel it, start feeling it come on. That there's just this, as I relaxed, there was a smile that was created. And there was just the smile, and it would just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I would just be laying down on the floor and just feeling that smile grow and grow and grow. And as the smile was growing, it was just going deeper, deeper, deeper. As it was going deeper, deeper, it was expanding. The smile was expanding, as well as just the sense of energy was expanding, 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 getting softer, 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 becoming more subtle, 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 subtle. And it was just bathing in that bliss, just swimming in that love, to the point where there was no one that was swimming in the love. There was just love. There was no one bathing in the bliss. There was just bliss. So it was just following it right back to the source. This singularity. That was so intense, so much power, so much potential, so full, that, of course, this is where it's all coming from. This is what's pouring out. This is what's overflowing. This is what cannot be contained. This is what's totally free. This is pure potentiality. Of course, this is where it's coming from. And that's a little summary of the journey. At first, it always felt like an outward journey. And then there's the inward journey. And there is the point now that it's back to this outward journey that looks a lot like guiding others. to that singularity, to that source, so that you can discover it. Discover that you are it. Hopefully this helps. See you in the next one.